The idea is really to create a living lab where research, where teaching, learning benefit from access to real data and connectivity. And it's a kind of, let's say, safe space and a test environment for AI technology.
Welcome to a brand new episode of our podcast, Human in AI, Mind Machines and the Gradient Descent.
Thanks for tuning into our geeky podcast to discuss the fascinating field of AI and machine learning, corporate craziness, passion for technology, and the role of humans. We are Uli and Abri, your hosts for this episode. And today, we're super excited to have none other than Natascha Eckert, the Global Head of University Relations at Siemens. Natascha is a purpose-driven and inspiring role model who's passionate not only about leading innovation and technology-driven teams, but also about shaping a research ecosystem that really creates impact.
Yeah.
So I guess we should waste no more time and dive right into it. Natascha, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you and where do we catch you today?
Thanks for having me today. So I'm super excited to be part of your amazing podcast series. I really love it. And actually, you catch me in Perlach today after quite a while. So we are still working more or less completely remotely. But the original idea for today was that I am the test user for the brand new professional podcast equipment that we sponsored for our Siemens PhD network. They run their own podcast. But while unpacking the whole equipment and facing the technical challenges, I finally decided to use my normal headset. So let's say my physical companion for the last 2 years now. Nevertheless, I think it feels pretty good to broadcast or to podcast here from Siemens, from Legoland, how we call our 70s style Siemens campus in Perlach. And maybe by the way, talking about our industrial PhDs, currently we have more than 30% out of our 120 PhDs work actually on AI-related PhD thesis. So
awesome.
AI in whatever, flexible manufacturing systems, in simulation, in medical imaging. So that's really amazing. And I hope the number of PhDs will increase in future.
So we do, actually.
Yeah.
That's very impressive. Maybe after this podcast, even more people will apply.
Yeah, apply, please. Yeah,
that's good.
So, Natascha, you are the global head of university relations. So maybe the first question would be, when you look back at your time at uni, what really inspired you then to take the path that led you to become or to join the position that you have today at Siemens? Was that always the goal?
Good question. Actually, my time at university is donkeys years ago. But I spent quite some time at university, so I don't know. Not a lot of people know it. I did not study technical studies. I studied business administration. I then did my PhD in strategic management, worked also as a lecturer and supervisor of bachelor and master students, part-time also for a consulting firm. But the big question then was one day, should I follow an academic career? But then I thought, oh gosh, I'm missing really the deep practical experience I would need to even act as a professor one day. So I changed sides. I joined Siemens Corporate Strategy at that time, and interestingly, and now we are getting a bit closer to this head of university relation. One of my first projects actually was one together with human resources resources. So the project focused on really setting up a strategic partnership program with selected universities in order to align better research and recruiting, but also to create a more visible and, let's also say, sustainable engagement with those strategic partners. So at that time, the idea or the program of the CKIs, the so-called Center of Knowledge Interchange program, was born. And that was in 2001, though, more than 20 years ago. And after that, I moved to the corporate R&D department, so the corporate technology, nowadays the technology department. And I really learned more about really the fantastic world of technologies and brought them closer to the global Siemens businesses. And then, interestingly, the topic of university relation and the team, they were transferred to corporate technology. And my first thought was, it's absolutely tailored for me, this job. So I raised my hand for this job, and I got it. Was it always the goal to be the global head of university relation one day? Maybe not the goal, but I would say really a kind of lucky or faithful incident. And
Awesome.
I would say nowadays, certainly it's one of the best jobs at Siemens, because you meet bright minds, crazy people all over the world. You really are at the forefront also of technology and innovation, and can help to accelerate also the success of the Siemens businesses. And you can show young people what an amazing company Siemens is. And last but not least, I have a fantastic team. We have an amazing university relation community within Siemens, which are absolutely driven by an innovative and collaborative spirit. So I'm happy where I am, even if it hasn't maybe not been the goal from the beginning on.
But you now in corporate technology, or in technology, as we nowadays say, right? And I somehow technology, is I don't know, close to 2,000 people, I guess, nowadays, actually with, expertise in all critical verticals and future technology stacks. It's somehow the mandate of, connecting actually academia, to the business and to real world challenges, I guess, right? And for that, it seems to be that you're on a very pivotal point, because you're connecting, both industry and academia partners, and bringing the network actually worldwide together. How can, from outside view, how can one imagine somehow what is this collaboration all about? What kind of types are we having? Do we have a set of university? What are these university we're connected to? Can you guide us a bit through this collaboration?
Yeah, for sure, Ollie. I'd love to do so. So I think connecting the two worlds is quite a good expression. And connecting the two worlds, it does not happen without any effort. So I think we at Siemens, we are in the luxurious situation that we have a dedicated, globally set team that drives and facilitates partnerships with the academic institutions. And as I said, one of my first projects was exactly to kick off or to start to establish a strategic partnership program with the selected universities. At that time, we had a two-tier program. So the Center of Knowledge Interchange, so let's say the Ivy League, also the first tier league of strategic partners. We had some more principal partners. And what makes the whole setup so unique was that we had partnership managers on the university side. So we had the CKI managers. They were employed by the university, paid from our side, out of our budgets, and they were kind of key accounter for just managing all the different activities, connecting the two worlds, connecting people. And this is, I think, we celebrated the 20th anniversary last year. And interestingly, and it's a good question that you have raised the question, we used a bit the COVID time, a bit more quiet time for us, to also reflect and revise the established CKI and Principal Partner Program. And interestingly, what we observed is that the universities, they have changed a lot over the last years. So in the past, you have seen universities or observed them more as kind of solo player. In the meantime, they work more and more in global ecosystems, in regional ecosystems, but also in global ecosystems. So they partner up with other universities. They collaborate closely with research institutes like Fraunhofer, but they also run their own startup programs, tech accelerators. So we see more and more academic startups coming out of those universities. And the idea was we thought, maybe we should really revise the program, bring it to the next level, adapt it a bit to what's going on outside. And we created a new program. We just closed the chapter of the CKI's Principal Partner and established a new program. It's called the Siemens Research and Innovation Ecosystem. We count 16 of those ecosystem. It's a very global setup, and for all the 16 ecosystems, we have still a lead university which orchestrates a bit the whole ecosystem, which helps us to connect the different players in the ecosystem. And I think or hope the idea is that those ecosystems will also help to accelerate Siemens' success as a leading tech company. So they are clearly built on excellence in technology, but also in excellence in partnership. And therefore we are still in a progress to also match the Siemens core technologies with those 16 ecosystem to figure out where we really have create or have collaborations with the best researchers in those ecosystems. And I think, why is it crucial to work in those ecosystems? You mentioned it. We count a lot of R&D employees within Siemens, approximately 40,000, if I have the right figure in mind. But we need the external partners to speed up technology development and innovation. And we need, I think, this is also very obvious if you talk about the future workforce, we need the critical talent to really master the immense digital transformation that our businesses are facing. And I think it's always great to get those impulses from outside. You learn about the latest trends, the upcoming disruptive technologies. And if you talk to the startups, I think you have done it also a couple of times. I'm always amazed by this innovative spirit and the fresh ideas they are bringing.
Yeah, the flexibility they pivot, right? They adapt super fast, and come with fresh ideas. Don't know about all the politics and about
exactly. That's it. They have this kind of. They are still wild, and they are. Yeah, as soon as you join a big corporate, you learn about rules, regulations, and I think then it's getting a bit, more challenging also to foster or to drive innovation.
Natascha, you just drew very comprehensively how the Siemens Research and Innovation Ecosystem is set up. And now we would be super excited to learn what typical projects or initiatives are inside that you are driving or that you're in particular passionate about. Is there anything that you remember that was outstanding to you or very formative?
So let me start a bit elaborating on the typical project. So I think on the research side, we have a variety of engagements, and this does not really differ maybe from other big corporates. So we have some smaller engagements like feasibility studies or white papers. We have our standard engagement into contracted research or publicly funded research, and those research projects are covering all the 11 Siemens core technology fields, and they range from data analytics, artificial intelligence, to power electronics, to cybersecurity. So it's a broad range of technologies where we run projects then with the ecosystem partners, but certainly also with other universities and research institutes. And then we are coming to some more long-term institutional investments. Those might be some joint research centers. Maybe you have heard we kicked off recently a Center of Excellence for digital, for simulation and digital twin at Georgia Tech. But we also have those kind of endowed professorships, which have a certain, I would say, also a good awareness. We created Siemens a good awareness for certain topics. So for a couple of years, we had an endowed professorship or endowed chair for sustainable building at the ETH Zurich. We are just sponsoring an endowed junior professor for smart mobility systems in Berlin at the Einstein Center for Digital Future. Though we have a variety of engagements and also the initiatives, they are manifold. And I know, Uli, you know the Applied AI initiative because you are part of the initiative from the
kudos to Andreas and Philip if you listen
exactly.
in, right?
And I think it's a great platform where you can meet people from all different stakeholders, from science, from other industries, from the public sectors. You meet startups. So I think this is great to bring the people together and to brainstorm and also bring different competencies together. You ask for one outstanding project, and I would mention something which I really like very much because it was something very creative. We launched together with a university, a strategic university partner, is the RWTH Aachen. And we were talking about how can we really establish a more long-term driven strategic project setup, which is also set up in a more interdisciplinary way. And I'm not sure, but some of the audiences or the listeners might know it. There is a great, very academic format. It's called the Collaborative Research Centers. In German, it's the Sonderforschungsbereich from the German Research Foundation. And this is a very long-term university-based research institution established for up to 12 years, in which really researchers work together with a very multidisciplinary research program. And our idea was, let's take this very academic format and just adapt it or make a copy for an industrial environment. So the Sonderforschungsbereiche, the abbreviation is SFB. So we created an S-FB, the Siemens Forschungsbereich, the Siemens Research Field, which was a very obvious copy of this academic format. And we really focused on strategic topics with a multi-million invest, with significant number of PhDs,
important
patent applications, and I think I'm quite proud of. We have had 3 of them so far. The first one was focused on rare earth and green mining. The second one focused on e-drive technologies, and the still running one, the third one is focusing on future train 2025 plus. So this is something I'll ever remember, I think, because it was so easy also to establish something new and bring it into the world, also into the university world, that shows for those strategic partnerships, you even can generate innovation also on the side of the formats or the way you collaborate with each other.
Yeah, awesome. Extending state of the art, right? Academia and research in real world problems, right?
Exactly.
Motivated by the business units.
Exactly.
How awesome is that?
Couldn't say it better, Oli.
To which extent is then, what's the role of AI? Can you, are you involved? Where are we, or is Siemens or you involved in AI and machine learning research, right? Are there any use cases where you see like, oh, that's pretty dope, that's pretty hot, that's pretty cool, that allows us to access great talent from the academia and the entrepreneurial world of the academia and institutes?
Yeah, I already mentioned the numbers of industrial PhDs. They work on AI projects. We have several honorary professorships and lots of lecturers being active in the field of AI research and education. And if you take a look at the Siemens core technology, data analytics and artificial intelligence, you see more and more investments that are assigned to the external research partners, which for me, I like it, because I think, especially in this field, we need the outside brain power, also the brain power from the cool startups we see outside. We are involved in a couple of AI projects. We are member of diverse AI initiatives, like the already mentioned Applied AI initiative here in Munich. And we have also run a couple of exciting AI challenges with universities and research institutes. I think we also have done a couple of them, which was quite exciting. And coming down to examples, maybe I can give you or name some cool examples. So
there we go.
I think a very good example, and I like it. It's hot off the press, more or less. Hot off the press, warm off the press, I would say, is the example of University of Birmingham. So in partnership with the Siemens Smart Infrastructure business, the University of Birmingham, they want to transform the two campuses they have in the UK and the other one in Dubai into really world's smartest global campuses. And that's cool, because they want to build a green campus where the latest technologies are combined. So from the digital sensor and analytics technologies to AI, to decentralized energy generation and storage, but also covering concepts that help change the user's behavior when living in this campus. And I think really to create a living lab where research, where teaching, learning benefit from access to real data and connectivity. And it's a kind of, let's say, safe space and a test environment for AI technologies. So I think this is something what I really like, and hopefully we can take this as a use case which can be multiplied also to other global university campuses. So let's see, fingers crossed for this. And I think we as Siemens, and especially the business of Siemens Smart Infrastructure, is quite well positioned for driving those really smart university campuses. Another AI project, and this is more out of it's a publicly funded project. It's a European AI on demand platform. They always have nice abbreviations. So it's AI for EU, and it's a huge project. So
Yeah,
funded
that's pretty
with
huge.
20 million euro by the European Union, and the idea is to create an open platform for European researchers, for educators, entrepreneurs, innovators who really work on innovation based on AI technologies. And you can call it a kind of, let's say, one-stop shop for anyone looking for AI knowledge or technology, for tools, services, experts. And they have also an experimental platform where you can build AI solutions in a very intuitive way. So for me, it's a bit maybe a kind of combination what we do as a partner for the Applied AI platform and the AI lab that you have initiated here in Munich. And the Siemens here on this platform, we contribute with concrete industrial use cases. We shape also the strategic research and innovation agenda for AI in Europe. And a next step is also to further scale the attractiveness of this platform also for the SMEs. So this is something what comes to my mind is, I would say, a quite successful project with a good outreach. And last but not least, and I think it's not only for you, Uli, that I mentioned the AI lab here in Munich. For me, it's a super cool co-location or co-creation environment. I know that technology has supported a couple of great projects here. They really developed the tangible prototypes for the next game changer in a very short period. But I think what I really like also with the AI Lab, that the people working there, they're also critically reflect the implications of AI and the digitalization on society. So what we call the really responsible AI, I would say. And for our students, I think it's great to be there as a working student, to have contact as an industrial PhD with the people in the AI lab. But it's also a great place to exchange with other players in the field of AI and to learn and to see what's happening outside, what's going on. And hopefully, I think we had this very small idea of the AI residency, where we attract the global, really top-notch researchers in AI or machine learning or whatever to come to Munich for a certain period of time to work just in the co-creation environment, to bring in their ideas, to feed in trends. And I know that COVID was not the best condition for this AI residency, but hopefully we can bring it to life again after the whole situation is a bit easier for physical visits or trips or whatever.
Yeah, that is what we hope as well, right? And thanks for all the support throughout. To be very frankly open. And I've heard that even if you work on the AI lab, that you may end up as as the podcast host sometimes.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But it's not the worst job, right?
Nah.
It's a very beautiful job. It's very cool to talk to so many different people. It's very inspiring. So you touched upon a lot what you are doing in combination with AI, but do you feel like AI and machine learning technologies, and also with the rise of that, it's also influencing your day-to-day work, that you're also working more with AI?
Yeah, that's a cool question. So actually, my generation thought there won't come any other smarter and cooler invention than the Walkman.
But the Walkman was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool, right?
It's getting hot again.
And
I've heard, right?
I'm not doing some ad word, but you remember this yellow one? I think that was the coolest one. The But okay, but just kidding. I think you ask a serious question. So how could this or does it influence our work? And I'm not sure if AI technologies have already reached the arena of university relations. But regarding our daily work, we could definitely need more AI techniques to make our work smarter and more efficient. And we are discussing this a lot in our team because, as you can imagine, right now we just did a super huge big data analysis when just identifying the future Siemens Research and Innovation Ecosystems. This was a lot of hell of a work. To derive data out of different databases, to combine it in a smart, in a clever way, but it was done more or less purely manually. And the question for us, we are a small team, so we were quite busy in getting this all done. We had good discussions exactly. So how could AI technology support our daily work? And I would see some potential fields of applications in our working arena. So a big area is the matchmaking of industry needs or industry requests and the academic research expertise and competences. We still use, as I mentioned, a lot of smart but human intelligence. But you have always kind of limited information. You have a very individual knowledge, also very individual search strategies, and you certainly have some biases too. I think that's quite obvious. So what I really would like is a more intelligently guided search for the right experts. So a kind of personalized Amazon-like recommendation algorithm. So which means an industrial researcher that had already collaborated with Professor X at Stanford University. He also collaborated with Professor Y at TU Delft. So just an example. So this would be something very, very cool for our work. But I see other areas as well. So for example, our job deals mainly with collaboration and with relationships. So here we could really take also the advantage of AI to help us to identify connections or links that may not be so obvious. So, for example, you have a collaboration in the US, and this might be related or have even an impact on working being done with a university in the UK or in Germany. So kind of, would be a smart feature to have an automated alert that informs our researchers about similar projects or give recommendations with whom to collaborate best in a certain field of research. So I see fields there. Another thing, we are always on the search of the hottest trends and technology developments outside, which are really relevant for our Siemens businesses or for the tech departments. And you have such an enormous amount of information out there that comes out of academia really every day. So having a smart companion that is able to screen and match the trends automatically would be also a very great help. And
Awesome.
a last point, and I think this is, I think it's always on your mind talking about university relation, is how to match the student requests for internships or for master thesis or PhD thesis with our open positions. And I think there are quite smart tools already in the market. And I know, at least from my human resource colleagues, that they also having some cool things in their pipeline. So
wait for it. I would say wait for it. So getting the talent Tinder, right? The
wow,
Siemens Research Tinder right now.
But the problem of Tinder isn't it very regionally limited? So the outreach, we should work on the outreach for this Tinder.
That is
model.
Obviously just fun, but matching profile and skill matching is something obviously super important. So awesome! Thanks for sharing that. So one aspect, obviously, in the AI and research community is we're talking about data, right? And we're talking about more and more about the relevancy of open source in that as well. So not only open data can we somehow provide to the emerging talent and researchers, vital problems, and that means also providing data, but also, can we, if we make use of the open code base, the GitHub and GitLabs and which are there, if we can, how, whether we can contribute to that as well. So how do you see, the current role of open source within Siemens, inner source within university open source? Can you reflect on that?
Starting with the open source movement, I would say open source movement literally encourage innovation through collaboration, though very easy. And this is exactly the philosophy behind our Siemens Research and Innovation Ecosystems. But I know it's also a bit of slippery ground because in our arena you easily mix up, or let's say merge, even open source with open innovation. And if you talk and you mentioned the open source software, GitHub, our inner source things, open source software is certainly an integral part of our research collaboration with the universities. Yes, I would say so, because it's a door opener for a lot of topics. It can really help to test the use cases much faster. And I think, and this is what you see also on the university side, the open source software is a key enabler for the digitalization in generally. And even with our global 25,000 software developers, we count Siemens internally. We need the access to the external ecosystem with the open source software expertise. So I think it's a clear strategy of Siemens as a digital tech company also to actively contribute to those projects. And last but not least, I think if a Siemens software expert develops a cool code, then we are also recognized in the academic community as a serious digital player, I think. And for me, there is no way out to contribute actively to the whole open source software community. And we use it very often in our, let's say we use it more and more also in our challenges. So, for example, in one of the last DI challenges, we used the ROS, the robot operating system. But we have also kind of open source access. So what you also mentioned, open source knowledge, open source access challenges. So a very smart thing we have run together with the Danish Technical University for a couple of years. So we joined the DTU X Tech Challenge, and it was quite great because we as Siemens, we provided intellectual property that was no longer relevant for Siemens. We gave it to a team, business guys, tech guys, marketing guys, and they tried to find a technical solution or business model for this, not leftover IP, but IP that was no longer used within Siemens. So this for me is, maybe it's not software, it's not a code, but it's a kind of open source access or open source knowledge. So yes, I think it plays really a very, very important role also in future, and you can see it interestingly also in the whole field of higher education at the moment. So this open source philosophy is more and more applied also to education, because, and I think with the new digital also blended formats of learning, so knowledge has become a much better transferable asset with a much higher outreach. And so the curricula could become more and more interconnected, shared, and further enhanced by other partners. So this, I think, is exactly what you have in the open source software community, but now applied or adapted to other fields. And something I could see Siemens also as a valuable contributor in the future.
Nice there. This goes along actually on the picture that we have. Like for the last, 4 years, we somehow propagate we need to co-create with our customers and clients, because it's not out of the box solutions. We want to, co-innovate also together. I think this combination of deep know-how, industrial expertise with innovation expertise and research expertise, moving together. It's also co-creation, somehow joining forces with the strengths with regards to academic relations. Is that pursuit? Is Siemens hacking together with students, or is that we are funding a PhD and then she or he drives research for the next 2 years alone in this somehow in the cellar? Is co-ideation, co-creation, right, bring that together? Is that the other programs for that?
Certainly, and I completely agree with you, Uli. So I think one of the key questions that really keeps me busy is how to reach a higher permeability between industry and academia. So how do we get a better, let's say, how can we achieve even closer collaboration? And or we both know that we always have also, let's say, a lot of legal colleagues in the game who
Cheers
are
out.
very, very reluctant if it comes down to all this kind of open innovation or co-creation, because this to a certain extent dilutes also a bit those kind of idea having the exclusivity on the results of some research. So I think it is a challenge. I think we both agree also that both sides can benefit from each other. So combining academic, theoretical knowledge really with our practical use cases. And that needs that both sides just get a better understanding for each other. And interestingly, often we have the experience co-creation is a suitable vehicle to create innovation. But even if you bring the best experts together, at the end of the day, it's all about people. And if there is no fit, it's quite hard to really bring them into a kind of co-creation mode. But I think we have a couple of good examples. We have our challenges. We have hackathons. We have the capstone projects where people from our side, together with the students, work on really joint challenges. And I like really more and more those kind of environments that are open and that they offer, though the co-working office spaces, or they have this startup-like environment. So where you come together, where you talk to each other, and this is also a bit the idea. We follow with a new Siemens Technology Center that we will have hopefully from 2023 on in Garching. Where we bring 450 of our researchers on the university campus. And we will also have around 150 people from the university side in one joint building. And you will have certainly the closed zones where you need confidentiality and exclusivity and all this stuff. But we want deliberately also open up and create a bit this kind of co-creation and co-working spirit.
Absolutely makes sense. Yeah.
And that's, for me, it's one thing, the co-creation to bring the people from both worlds together and combine the different knowledge bases you have. But I see more and more also this kind of how can we better exchange the people and the experts from both sides, so that they spend more time than only for a limited time of co-creation. How can we create models where we bring people from academia into industrial practice, into industrial research, and vice versa? Though there are models out there, industrial professors, but I hope that we can also contribute here and see much more of those really couples expert exchanges in future.
That would be super exciting, but it's for sure a great challenge that is still ahead there. And what was also very challenging is, of course, the COVID pandemic. And I think it must hit you very hard because I imagine the key driver behind of what you are doing with your department is to connect with students, professors, with different universities to really exchange knowledge and also collaborate closely. And you mentioned hackathons and co-working and co-location. So how did the COVID pandemic actually influence the way that university relations actually thrive?
Yeah, that was interesting. So I remember quite well. It was nearly 2 years ago, March 2020. We were really hit by the pandemic, and then we were really kind of paralyzed. We postponed, we canceled a lot of our planned events and activities, and we then decided, but what will it do if the crisis will stay a bit longer? And obviously it did. So we switched a lot of our formats from physical to virtual world. So the conferences, workshop, hackathons, even mentoring sessions or hiring interviews. This was quite challenging for both sides. Fortunately, our research projects could more or less seamlessly be continued or were stretched then over a longer planning interval. And I think what really worked out that just a strategic partnership, though a long-lasting partnership, is so reliable that it was a kind of stress test, but it really paid off that we had such close and trustful partnerships already over decades of time. And as I said, we used the time to rework our strategic partnership approach, and I think it gave unexpected value. So we had a much better global outreach for the events, also more interaction with the whole community. But what I added was really the new word serendipity. So this is what I really was missing, to meet people incidentally on a conference or whatever. So I would say, the digital formats will certainly never replace the real and maybe also faithful encounters. And we definitely learn to live with the options and plan Bs.
So from your perspective as a power woman, I would say also, right? What makes leadership for you? What is the difference between the management and the leadership in current times?
As a modern leader, you're a bit of everything. So you are a sparring partner, you're a coach, you're a visionary, you're a manager, maybe a process owner. At the end of the day, you are also kind of a guarantor for my boss. That everything is in good shape. I would say it's really a mix, and if you are in a crisis, you have to be more a manager than a leader, certainly. But I think you are as you are. So if people often talk about you have to be authentic and inspiring, can you learn to be authentic or to be inspiring? So you certainly can change some of your behaviors and you can change a bit your style, but I think you can't change yourself. So it was always my credo as a leader that I say I wanted to lead as I wanted to be led by my leaders. And so far, I think it was a good credo. And for me, if you ask me what do you see as a kind of inspiring leadership style is just communicate your vision, share openly also your expectations, but be aware of your people's expectations as well. Empower your people, and this is a bit of a buzzword, but nevertheless, so it deals with trust, with freedom, with giving feedback, but also backing your team. Listen, I think, but also this kind of celebrate also successes and reward your people. And this kind of leadership certainly also requires a kind of ownership from the people, because everybody now has to take a certain responsibility. And yeah, I'm interesting to see what's going on. You have those kinds of whatever organization 3.0 and culture without hierarchy. So I'm still curious to see how this will evolve within a company like Siemens.
So exciting times ahead for sure, and very beautiful advice that you already gave there, or how you see leadership. Natascha, thanks so much for being the guest on our show. Thanks for taking the time. We know how busy you are, and we are almost at the very end of this session. But before we finish this episode, we have that little tradition, that little game that we play at the end. It's called Authentic Autocomplete. And for the closing, I would like to give you a couple of sentence starters, and I would ask you to finish them. Natascha, are you ready for this last challenge?
I am ready, yes. Thanks, Aubrey.
So let's start with an easy one. Siemens is?
It's not easy. Siemens is maybe not yet the first address for AI technologies and AI-enabled businesses, but it definitely should be one.
Oh, nice. Nice. Thanks for that.
Technology with purpose is?
Yeah, on a first glimpse, I would say it's another new buzzword. But looking closer, it's for me the perfect vehicle to start a discourse about the purpose of technology. So it's a kind of invitation to reflect on technology and its application. And it's certainly a dialogue between, or should be a dialogue between tech-savvy people and people who are not so familiar with technology per se.
Love it.
A research ecosystem is needed because?
Nobody is capable to solve the challenges we are facing on its own.
Agree. The best advice I was ever given was?
The best advice I was ever given was be yourself, but not too much. So what means be open for changes, for adventures, even for risk, but reinvent yourself, leave your comfort zone, and especially work with people who are different.
Love it.
It's very beautiful. And last but not least, if I could change one thing in the world immediately, it would be?
Two things. So I would love to see less selfishness and less narcissism, and maybe more sense of responsibility, solidarity, empathy, compassion. And the second one, I'm really missing people that can laugh at themselves.
Love it. Awesome. Hey, Natascha, thanks so much, not only for, being open and passionate and, giving us here some time and a bit of some perspective of you, but also, that you, for all the support throughout the AI initiatives, the AI collaboration that we have, and the, also backbone of the AI Lab and the sustainability campaign and so on. So we really enjoy and are very proud and super honored to have you and, being part of our special research community and ecosystem, and we're looking forward to many engagements and collaborations in the future. So thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much. It was great being here, and hope to stay connected with the AI Lab and other initiatives in future. Thank you both.
There you go. And folks out there,
it was fun.
Stay tuned.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
There is so much to come, I guess, right? Stay bold, committed, and open-minded, and we hear us at the next Siemens AI Lab podcast. Cheers.